You got it.
Okay. All right, we're live.
Okay, welcome. This is a public hearing for Wilson Elementary's Targeted Improvement Plan, where we'd like to present to you our Wilson's work for the year and gain parent input on what we have going on. So Ms. Keena Daughtry will start us off.
Awesome, thank you so much. Okay, we are going to start with just a very quick overview of our 2019 ratings. We are still working with these ratings because we were unable to take STAR tests at the end of last year. And so for an overall rating, Wilson was rated at a C, acceptable, but we're gonna go a little bit deeper into what that means. There are 3 different areas that we are measured in at the elementary level. The first being student achievement, how all of our students perform on their state assessments, how our students have made progress from year to year, and then how we're working on closing the gaps. Do you want to just point out that what you see on the screen right now, those are example scores, those are not Wilson scores. We'll get to those here in just a minute. So a further breakdown, what we do is we look at the first 2 domains, that student achievement and school progress, and together that creates 70% of our overall score. The third domain is, let me admit someone. The third domain is closing the gaps, and that accounts for 30% of our overall rating. So our STAR performance levels, this is really interesting because it's based off of our MEETS performance level. There are 3 different levels, or 4 really. There's did not meet grade level, approaches, which is technically passing, but they're not meeting grade level standards, meets grade level, and then master's grade level. And all of our accountability is taken based off of our MEETS levels. This is diving a little bit deeper into that domain 3, closing gaps. Domain, you will see all of the different subpopulations of student groups that are measured within this. And you will see the 3 highlighted on the screen are the 3 that were the lowest for Wilson with our 2019 ratings: Hispanic, white, and economically disadvantaged. Now we're going to look a little bit at Wilson's actual scores. So for our domain 1 for student achievement, we actually had a 70%. For domain 2, we had, for our progress, we had a 65 for the first part of it and a 75 for the second part of it. And then for closing the gaps, we had a D66 for an overall cumulative rating of 72.3, which is a C, which is why I referenced this up here, that we were rated as a C. However, because we do have a D in domain 3 with our subpopulations, we were required to create a targeted improvement plan. We did this last year, but we've created a new one for this year to make sure we're addressing our students' needs, especially given the gaps that they have from being out of school with our school closures in the spring. So for this targeted improvement plan this year, we've really narrowed it down to focusing on 2 really strategic areas. The first being creating lesson plans for our students and teachers to follow so that they really are making sure they know what they're teaching our students, especially because they're a little bit behind from being out of school. And then we're also looking at tracking our data and making sure that when we are tracking our data, we know which kids need support and which kids need enrichment. So that's been really exciting to start on this year. So again, just to kind of recap, we are operating off of data from 2019, but we know that with school closing in the spring, we have our kids are really struggling and they need a lot of support. So we're working to support them, even though we're looking at accountability on past ratings. We did have an overall C rating, but we did have a D in domain 3, which is closing those gaps for our Hispanic, white, and economically disadvantaged students. So those are really the students that we're working with a lot right now. Okay, I know we have some parents in. Do any of you have any questions for me? Thank you so much, Ms. Hancock, for manning the chat and welcoming our parents that joined. Does anyone have any questions?
No.
Okay, Mrs. Hancock, do you have anything to add to that?
I'm muted. I think just letting these parents know that we did record this session, and so if you missed the beginning and want to see it, that Ms. Daughtry will be sharing it somehow.
Yes, I'll be posting it on our Facebook page as well as on our Remind in Dojo.
Yeah, and one of the purposes of this meeting is to gain parent input, and so if you have any comments on Wilson's plan, beyond questions or just input that you have, we'd love to hear it. Sorry.
That's okay. Doing a public hearing from home is not always fun. Well, we appreciate both of you for attending. Again, I will be posting this on our Facebook page and on our Remind in Dojo if you missed the beginning of it and you want to hear the rest of it. I appreciate your support and I appreciate you being here tonight. I think we're going to go ahead and hop off of here. I'm going to stop recording.